It happens every time.
Didn't happen last night, yeah.
You know, I was lucky. I was in that one. It was good.
What's going on, guys? This is Empty Box. We're racing in the iRacing Prototype GT Challenge. Racing in the HPD. This is the fixed version of the series, which I'll go ahead and explain at some point during the race, hopefully. Unless it's a really good race, in which case I'll have to shut up for concentration's sake, in which case the entertainment value will go up anyways. Starting on the outside pole, don't usually drive the HPD, driving it in this fixed series just because it's the fixed series. Starting on the outside pole here at Okayama, 38 car grid, 2 under the absolute maximum that this track supports, so this is always going to be a fun one. That's just a really tricky restart there. Now this guy in the player's car behind me, raced him last night. And we were basically dead on together. But I'm a little bit faster tonight because last night I literally started practicing about 15 minutes before the race.
Well, sorry about that weird lights around sounds a little weird.
So this should be a close fight. This is a 25-minute timed race. We will end up going through the traffic, of course, here on a very short circuit, but only once, ideally. This car is pretty tricky through this section here. Not a lot of rear end grip. Use either first or second. Second's a little bit easier, but I think first is just a tick faster. It's hard to believe how much room there is on that exit of that corner. It's a good place to make up time, though. You just gotta be able to actually use it. Now last night I was a little bit faster in this section compared to this guy in front of me, so... But that doesn't really leave a whole lot of passing opportunity, obviously, with this slow, tight, twisty stuff. Especially when you have to lift out of that first right-hand sweeper, because you just don't have the downforce. Nowhere to go. This is a difficult place to pass, that is for sure. hopefully we can stay in contact with the car I'm first. If you've watched my channel, you definitely know that I like navigating through traffic. Anyways, as I mentioned, I am running the fixed series, even though I'm not a fan of the fixed series. Not because of the setups or anything, but because, quite frankly, in my opinion, a 25-minute race in cars designed for endurance sports car racing, can I capitalize? No. It's kind of silly, in my opinion. I just don't really see the fun in a 25-minute sprint race. So I am running the Open Series as well, although I am using the fixed setups in the Open Series, believe it or not. Because I know some people will go, oh, you can't be competitive if you do that, which I call BS. But obviously there's not a whole lot of participation outside of the weekends in the Open Series. On the weekends there is tons of participation. It definitely does very well in the races that are, populated. Drawing almost 100 people registered for one race at one time, which there's not really that many series that can say that. So with that said, I'd like to try and get more of you guys to race in the Open Series, because there's really nothing to fear. I've heard some really silly remarks regarding why guys who race in the fixed series don't drive in the Open Series, which just, quite frankly, don't make sense. Such as, I'm running for a championship in the fixed series, and this guy keeps blowing the hairpin. I need to be closer. Which, okay, yeah, sure, you want to race in the fixed, with the strength of field race and everything, if you want to win a championship, that's for sure. But weekday nights are not strength of field races, okay, in any series. That's just the honest truth. So it's just kind of one of those things, like, why not just run the fixed setup in the Open Series? The points don't count for each other, and you can get more practice in actual race conditions, with guys breathing down your neck, positions that you don't want to lose, cars passing you, obviously in a mixed class environment. And this guy is totally going to screw both of us over. I can see it now. Okay, we are losing touch with the leader. So with that said, in order to get more weekend or weekday participation, there was kind of a fail on my part. More driving, less talking. Kind of a botched together participation race this past Wednesday night at 8:30 Central Time, U.S. time, which seems to be a... Get away from the dude. Just... I don't like the way you're coming at me. Which is a pretty good time slot, if you ask me. I think that one will see a lot of participation going forward. And I'd like you guys to join in the Open Series race. It is after the fixed race, so, it's kind of one of those things. It's a leap of faith. But honestly, I think the Open Series is just better. I mean, the longer races, you got pit stops and everything. If you're into racing these types of cars, you're probably into long races, Because, like I said earlier, a 25-minute sprint race in these types of cars is just silly. My driving has gotten sloppy. Not sure if that guy just got loose or if he's just trying to get me through the corner without getting wrecked. But would have been safe anyways. Looks like the leaders are in heavy traffic. Except for I'm gonna get screwed over. When you drive one of these things, it's like these GT cars are just driving 2 freaking miles an hour. But them's the brakes. Just go on by them like they're standing still. Okay, I really need to put in some solid laps. Of course, with only 25 minutes, you don't have a whole heck of a lot of time. And that's kind of one of the reasons that I think the series and the fix just kind of suffers in terms of the race quality, because, you know, with only, you know, 15 minutes now, we come up on traffic, it's go time, you know. The field isn't spread out. The field's still really quite close because the race really just started. So, you know, you can't really afford to lose too much time, because if you do, you're going to lose a position guaranteed. You know, 1/10 of a second over 25 laps is 2.5 seconds. 1/10 of a second over 50 laps is 5 seconds. I mean, if you have 5 seconds, I'm waiting for days on you if you're a GT driver. You know, if I'm got a 2.5 second gap to the car behind, I'm trying to get through as fast as possible. You know, I'm taking a lot more risks. It's a lot more dangerous for everybody. And, you know, some people will say, oh, well, you know, it's just, you know, the drivers here at iRacing were always super aggressive and everything. Well, you look at the, you know, ALMS in the real world, with 25 laps to go, if you had every car on the lead lap bunched together in really close environment, it's going to be exactly like that. Because, you know what? Race car drivers are race car drivers. It doesn't matter if you're doing it for real or doing it for virtual fun, you know. Everybody wants to win. Thank you.
Yep.
You know, that's just how it is. And that's, I'm pretty sure that's why we all enjoy, you know, racing. Thank you.
Here's a real anniversary.
Okay, what's this guy doing? He's taking a weird line. Whoa! Now the C6Rs are a little bit more difficult to pass. Have to go back and see what happened there in that incident. Given that the HPD was right up there in the Corvette's back end, which usually means the obvious thought that you're probably having right now. But we'll reserve judgment for a later date. But another reason for bringing you guys the fixed set race, 25 minutes is a lot easier to do on YouTube. You know, especially with my upload connection, which actually is terrible. But, you know, a 65-minute long race is just too freaking long to do on a regular basis in terms of, you know, uploading for you guys. Plus, this also enables me to drive a wider variety of cars because, you know, again, seeing how I'm focusing on the Open Series and the Ford GT, which is the best GT car in any sim that I've driven of recent note. You know, I can drive the Corvette here, the HPD, and the Ford as well, and just, you know, not really have to worry too terribly much because now the cars are really easy to drive. They don't really have all that many idiosyncrasies or anything like that. It's just really simple, really basic, really about time. That's what it is. Whoa, Nelly! That is the HPD leader gone. Okay, looks like it's a repeat of last night.
The hell? Fuck joking. Okay. What are you doing there?
Okay, we are past the Corvette.
Stops right in the racing line.
Time check, 10 minutes left.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay. Traffic is definitely going to play a role in this one. I can feel it. Well, I guess traffic already did. I think I'm definitely faster off of that left-handed sweeper, which gives me an advantage down into this corner, but this really isn't a passing place. Got plenty of space back to P3. And I must say, I do approve of this guy's paint scheme. Of course, then again, I am a kart fan, so miss those days, really do. Okay, Corvette, come on. You let one through, you gotta let them both through. You just, I mean, I say that as a guy who is driving the Ford GT, which is, you know, the slowest car here in this three-way section. I mean, you just can't. See if we can get a draft off of him. Come on. You don't need to frickin' be there. It's okay, 0x, no harm, no foul.
Tight, man. Not the traffic, fuck. Did you see how close that was, though?
Talking about that pass, that was more than close. That was 0x. Shit, now there's space. That's not good, because if this Ford lets him by. Still 6 minutes, still plenty of time.
I'll pass him straight, you guys already.
Thanks, Brandon.
Here's another case where I'm gonna get screwed. See, this is simply put a case of you don't need to be here right now. And you don't need to stop right in front of me like that, bro.
Oh!
Well, he definitely broke my car that time, I think.
We are too.
Yeah, I'm broken.
I mean, that guy honestly, he was doing nothing wrong. You know, I can't fault him, but you know, again, I like heads-up racing where you're trying to, you know, not screw people over, because that just effectively gave him a giant gap that, you know, really, you are a lap down. You know, I just don't understand it sometimes.
Thank you.
That's right, Fred. I'll give you room.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have the speed.
Go right, Jonathan.
Once traffic comes into play again. I feel like on the next lap I'm gonna break at the frickin' 50 board. Two minutes to go, 2 laps, maybe 3.
Thank you.
Yeah, I botched that one bad.
Come on, guy.
Thanks, bye.
Adding traction control to this car like the real car would be really nice right about now. White flag, 1 lap to make it happen, no traffic in sight. That was close. Come on, baby. Got way too much wheel spin coming off of that corner. Got in way too late there. Turned in way too early. Don't think I have a chance unless he makes a mistake. Yeah. That was not my wisest idea ever. One of these days I will beat you. Great race again, man.
Oh, careful. Good race.
That was a good race though. That was fun. That was enjoyable. But again, Open Series Prototype GT Challenge, Wednesdays, US time, 8 p.m. Central. Be there, be squared. Actually, I guess 8 o'clock is when qualifying starts. 8:30 p.m. Central is when the race starts. So let's try and pack those grids. We've had really good splits. The first week, you know, is basically, I think it's 5 HPDs, 2 Corvettes, and then a bunch of Ford GTs because it's the best GT car ever created. So that's that. That was a fun race. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be back next week for more Prototype GT shenanigans. Bye.